Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. So, before I dive into today's episode, which is talking all things The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. It is a free and easy way to support the channel, and I really appreciate it. So, with that, let's go. So, if you are watching live, be sure to say hi in the chat box. Where are you watching from? What were your favorite moments of this season so far? And then if you're watching on the replay, join us in the comment section down below. Share your thoughts, the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, all of it. So with that, let's go. Okay, so first up, let's talk about each of the ladies and my thoughts on last night's episode, which was their last night in Palm Springs. All of the fighting, all of the feuding, the men are getting involved. Let's talk about the husbands. So it is what it is. Hey, Barbara. Hey, Tay Tay. What's up, you guys? Everybody, welcome. Okay, so Lisa Barlow is still that girl. When every single storyline in everybody, and the name in everybody's mouth is Lisa this, Lisa that, Lisa this, Lisa that, to the point where even the husbands are like on Lisa's jock. Like, Justin has to apologize to Lisa. You know, Shawn is like, oh, Lisa, you called my wife an effing B. Like, pipe down, little one. Like, Shawn, not Shawn, Shane. I'm talking about Angie's husband, Shane. Shane is so whack to me. Like, he is such a cornball. Like, I feel like he's about to, like, he's like a wimp. Like, he's gonna cry. Like, you called my wife an effing B, and that's like so weird. Like, pipe down, Shane. Like, pipe down. Go back to the rock that you crawled under. Like, nobody cares. Bye bye, buddy. But we'll get to you in a second. Let me finish up with Lisa. So, Lisa, I feel like she's doing better at handling the stress of being basically everybody's target. She's being less reactive. She's less swearing and running and doing the absolute most, which I think actually serves her well because clearly Bronwyn is trying to get at her because Bronwyn is deeply insecure, very unhappy, and is a weird wackadoodle adult weird, theater kid wearing costumes looking like freaking Big Bird and the Hamburglar running around Salt Lake City. And side note, do we think Bronwyn and her husband Todd have as much money as they claim to have? I kind of don't think they are as rich as they claim to be. For example, do we think that he actually bought and paid for to keep that $4 million diamond necklace? I don't think so because I did on the Googler and I looked up his net worth and allegedly it's $24 million. Again, you can't believe what you read on the Googler, but you never know. And why would you spend $4 million if you're only worth $24 million? I don't mean like only, but you know what I mean? On a necklace? I think it was a loaner. Like, the Norman people, jewelers, whoever the hell they were, I bet was like, okay, well, like if you say our name 3 times on camera, and show our jewelry, we will loan you the piece for the night and pretend like it's a gift. Because what person is gifting someone a $4 million necklace? You know what I mean? I don't buy it. I don't believe it. I think there's a fly in the milk. It's giving Tom Girardi, Erica Jane vibes where it's like the guy is 20 years older. He's mean and cold and he has all of this money. And then his young wife is a weirdo and is like running around in costumes all day. And then surprise, surprise, it's the FBI knocking on the door. They're being raided. Like the money isn't moneying. It's all a sham and it's all a fraud. Because I don't care what anybody says, there is something red flag in my gut regarding Bronwyn's house. Why is it not furnished and why is there dog shit everywhere? You are mean to tell me your husband bought you a $4 million necklace and he's cool with dog shit in the house? Something isn't adding up. I don't know. Anyway, we'll get back to Bronwyn. But I'm happy that Lisa is like standing in her own and she's being less reactionary. I'm also happy that she's realizing that, yes, it is Whitney who I think ignited Angie to go against her and ignited Bronwyn to go against her. But the only reason why she was able to ignite them is because they were already filled with the hate and the jealousy and the resentment towards Lisa based on their own low self-esteem and their own insecurities. Like if you light a match, but there's no gasoline, nothing's going to happen. She lit the fuse and it blew up because there's gas there, you know? Also, I love John Barlow. Like, if my man does not defend me the way John Barlow defends Lisa Barlow, I don't want him. I love how he steps in. I love how he takes control of the situation and really is just like ride or die for his wife. Now, what really irritated me was Bronwyn, because I just personally think she is just weird to me. There's some type of fraud going on. She's just weird to me. How come in her confessional she's like, oh my god, so we just needed John Barlow to like come and like mansplain to us and to like shut down all of our women problems. Like, first of all, keep your feminism to yourself, and secondly, that's pretty rich given the fact that your husband is like the meanest, coldest person ever, and he basically tells you to shut the F up every other scene. Every word out of his mouth is, we're done, that's enough, it's over, be quiet, I'm done. Like, he doesn't even smile at you. Like, I've never seen Todd smile. He doesn't even smile at you, and he just puts you down. So if you want to talk about men who are coming in the situation and putting women down and shutting them up, look at your own husband, Todd. And now you're out here like a weirdo posting on Instagram like, oh, this is like my, like, I regret saying things about Todd. Like, that's just our quirky personality. We're just so quirky and sarcastic. No, your husband doesn't respect you. He treats you like a part of the staff. He treats you less than a daughter because he doesn't even like have any affection towards you. You're not warm. You're not cold. You seem like his like home caretaker more than his wife. So like, girl, bye, miss me with all this crap. And I think a lot more about their marriage is going to come out in the second half of the season, because that's like teased, we're like Whitney and Heather are talking about like, oh, like Todd's really dismissive of her. They seem to fight a lot. And then she has her little breakdown moment like, if you want to talk about my marriage and Todd, like, let me tell you what I've really gone through. Like, okay, like, good. Not good that she's going through stuff, not good that she's breaking down, but like good that she's finally being honest. Because when your entire personality is talking about how your husband is old with gout and how much money he has, like, oh, when he brings out his black Amex, like that shtick gets old really, really, really fast and really, really quick. Do you know what I mean? So I'm kind of just like, that's just like not cool. And she's just really weird, a try hard to me. I also think it was a huge misstep for her not to invite Heather on the trip. Like, Heather is an OG. She is an integral part to the group. I personally missed Heather being there. I used to not be like the biggest Heather fan, but I'm totally riding with Heather now. I think she's totally turned herself around for me personally. And I missed her on the trip. I think she would have been a good addition. She knows how to stir the pot. She knows how to bring different storylines in, different interactions, different type of flavor. I think Bronwyn coming in her season so hot, thinking that like she's that girl, to not invite an OG Heather on the girls trip, I think that was the wrong road and the wrong approach to take. Especially because she's beefing with Lisa. She's not that close with Meredith at all. And I feel like Whitney, even though not in the after show, but I do feel like Whitney is team Heather over Bronwyn, because I don't think that Whitney actually likes Bronwyn. I think that Whitney uses Bronwyn to dig at Lisa, but that's it. She's just using her. She doesn't actually like her. So if it came to like whether or not she would choose Heather over Bronwyn, she would choose Heather. She even said on Watch What Happens Live, when Andy was like, well, whose side are you on, Heather or Bronwyn's? She was like, I'm on Heather's side. And everybody was like, ooh. So yeah, Bronwyn, you just got used and abused and you look like a freaking clown. And Whitney basically just played you to go against Lisa. So let's talk. Brittany wasn't even in the episode, so we can skip Brittany. Whitney. I I don't know what is going on with Whit, but every single scene, she looks more miserable, she looks more evil, she looks more bitter. Like, you can taste the vitriol in her mouth when she just looks in the direction of Lisa Barlow. Like, it's psychotic. And to be honest with you, it's really kind of scary. Like, what did Lisa ever do to you? Like, this can't be that deep. But I was living when Shawn, Meredith's husband, his name is Shawn, right? Yeah, Shawn, Meredith's husband was like, "This is the proof, biatch." I was like, "Yes, amen, and thank you, thank you, thank you." And he like put her all the way in her place. Because number one, Whitney, you are lying. It's been exposed that you were willingly and knowingly trying to set up Lisa Barlow to be the person who exposed your Alibaba jewelry, which isn't even exposing anything because all you have to do is go on Alibaba, go on WhitneyRose.com or whatever it is, and see that it's the same exact jewelry. And basically you are buying, $1 worth of jewelry and marking it up to $44 and just slapping your logo on it. Anyway, I digress. But it's already clearly been debunked that it wasn't Lisa and that Whitney thought that Adam from Up and Adam, the podcaster YouTuber person, was going to continue the lie for her. But he clearly didn't, because he came out and said, "I never said that. It was never Lisa." And Whitney knew that. And now they've had a big falling out. So it's come out that she was lying and setting up Lisa. So everything Lisa was saying was correct. And when Lisa was like, "Where's your proof? Where's your proof? Where's your proof?" "Oh, my blogger friend said it. My blogger friend said it." That's not proof, right? So when Shawn said, "Oh, like here's the proof, biatch," because Shane did go on a podcast and insinuate that Meredith was using Brooks's sexuality, whatever his sexuality may be, to deflect from the fact that she was in cahoots with Monica to expose Shane's own questionable sexuality and whether or not he was sleeping with men. That has also been debunked. Meredith had nothing to do with it. It was actually Monica, the one bringing up the stuff about Angie, trying to get Meredith into it. And that's what Meredith told him. She's like, "I wasn't a part of this. I was lied on. Like, this was this other person. Like, I can't, like, it wasn't me." And then he had gone on a podcast and he said this. Him going on the podcast, his own words, that is the proof. Those are the receipts. And he was trying to gaslight her at the table. He was like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I never said anything about your son." And the moment Shawn whipped out the receipts, all of a sudden he knew verbatim exactly what she was talking about. "Oh, leverage. Well, I thought you leveraged." I was like, "You are such a weird wimp, pathetic wackadoodle." Like, you knew exactly what she was talking about. You knew exactly what you said in the podcast. But 2 minutes ago, you're acting like you didn't say anything wrong. But now when they pulled up the actual receipts, like the article quoting you, all of a sudden, you know the exact words, the exact verbiage of exactly what she's talking about. Like, Shane, and to any newbies here, anytime we talk about sexuality, I personally talk about it in a way that is inclusive and love. I don't think that there is anything wrong with being gay. I don't think there's anything wrong with being straight or trans or open or fluid or bi. I think whatever you are is what you are. So I'm an equal opportunity shade thrower because I don't think that there's anything wrong with any sexuality. So the fact that Shane is going so hard, to me it seems like, are you jealous of Brooks because Brooks is being open about his sexuality? Do you envy the fact that he has support in his sexuality? I don't know, Shane, but like, you were talking about her son, especially with the juxtaposition to your wife, Angie, who lost her freaking mind when all Lisa said was, "Oh, like, when you want to get off the phone with me, you say you have to go talk to Electra," which is nothing compared to your husband saying that Meredith is using her son's sexual identity and sexual orientation to deflect from something that she's done. That's way worse. Like, you're bringing in her son's sexual, orientation or whatever the case may be, and saying that she's using that. That's way worse. And then you try to gaslight her and act like you didn't say anything, but then you quickly realize what you said. And then Whitney over here, proof, where's the proof? And he was like, boom, here's the proof. Like, Whitney, number one, shut up. Was not your fight, was not your battle. It had nothing to do with you. Meredith and Shawn talking to Angie and Shane, that's their business. That's totally their business. And you're inserting yourself into it. So I'm happy she got blasted. I'm happy he was like, biatch. I'm happy he shut her down and was like, listen. And I actually feel bad for Whitney's husband, Justin, because I think that the light in his head is like finally turning on. And I think he's finally getting like, oh, my wife is actually the problem. Oh, my wife is actually the liar. I think he's finally getting it, but I don't think he would ever admit it, especially when it comes to like a Lisa Barlow situation. I don't think he would ever admit, oh, my wife is the actual problem. Oh, she's the actual liar in this situation, in this scenario. I don't think he would bring himself to admit it, but I do think he's realizing it and he knows it. Like, I think he's getting more and more embarrassed by her, but he's like in too deep and doesn't know how to get out, you know? So it's too much. It's too much. Oh, Seth, thank you. Thank you, Johnny. Calling Seth Shawn and Shawn. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sorry, guys. Meredith's husband, Seth. Thank you, Johnny. So for the last 15 minutes, I've just been messing it up, but y'all know who I'm talking about, okay? Y'all let me know. Okay, let's get back to it. Now, speaking of Seth, okay, Seth and Meredith, thank you, Johnny. I appreciate that for letting me know. Okay, so Meredith and Seth, this is what I think is going on with them. I think their whole, quote, argument over him traveling and him, not being home, I am not buying that is a legitimate argument. I think that is a storyline. Like, these are our marital problems. Also, what happened to their podcast? Weren't they doing like a couples podcast? What happened to that? Anyway, I think that that's all for storyline, because on the after show, it turned out that because Meredith was like, oh, Seth decided to stay for a little bit longer, but he's leaving to go to Ohio. He's not leaving to go back to Utah. But then on the after show, Bronwyn said that Meredith herself didn't even go back to Utah. So why does Meredith care where Seth went when she wasn't going back to Utah either? And don't forget, there's like all those rumors out there that Meredith and Seth don't even live in Salt Lake City. They don't even live in Utah. And I think that's more true. That's why they always rent houses when they're filming, because I think they only live there when they film. I also don't think that Seth and Meredith are in a, quote, traditional marriage. I've said it once, I'll say it again. I think they just have an understanding. I think for them, it's like, it doesn't make any sense to divorce. We already have the kids. We have either like, I feel like they're the type of couple who, I don't think they commingled finances, or if they did, they stopped at some point. And I think she has her money. I think he has his money. I think she does her. I think she does him. And they come together. They rent the house and they shoot for the cameras. And other than that, they become a married couple who become best friends and parents living life. And they can't be bothered to like get divorced. That's kind of what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? Because what else could it be? She didn't even go back. Now, when it comes to Angie, I know some of y'all like Angie. I personally don't get the appeal. I don't get her personality. I don't think she has one. Like, she's just up Whitney's butt. She's just bashing Lisa all the time. Her and her husband are cringe to me. They're weird. It's a very weird vibe with them. I'm not an Angie fan. Being Greek is her complete personality. Like, being Greek is not a personality type. Like, stop. It's too much. Like, it's every other word out of her mouth. Like, we get it. But you need to like calm down. I also thought that Angie's husband name is Shane or Shawn? It's Shawn, right? And then Shane is Emily's husband in the OC. You guys, it's been a long day, okay? It's been a long day. I'm just going to call him Angie's hubby. So Angie's hubby, I thought him saying that Lisa Barlow was abusive to his wife was absolutely wild and insane. Abusive is such a big, powerful word. It's such a buzzword. And I think he knew exactly what he was saying, exactly what he was doing. And it seems like, Angie's hubby, like, are you jealous of Lisa too? Like, do you also want to be Lisa Barlow? Like, I'm confused. Like, do you also want to like drink Diet Cokes and hang out with the girls and say baby gorgeous? Like, because you're kind of feeling that way. Like, it's a lot, babe. It's a lot. I thought that was a stretch. Angie's mean too. Angie's didn't Angie like get up and like throw her chair and throw something too? Like I feel like in like and I feel like Angie's gonna even do even more, like throw food or something like that. I don't know, but like Angie's also has a mouth on her. Angie also has a temper on her. So it's like to say that Lisa Barlow is abusive to his wife. Number one, your wife is a grown adult woman. So if she is in an abusive relationship with another grown adult woman, that's on her. Okay? You know what I mean? But to say Lisa Barlow is abusive, like that was wild to me. Absolutely wild. And then he refused to take accountability for talking about Meredith's son, also wild. I'm ready to cancel Angie and her husband. I would be totally fine if they did not come back. I think they're boring. I think they're beat. Angie's fashions is not giving. Her husband is not giving. I'm just not with these two at all. At all. Let's talk about Mary. Okay, so Mary to me, I think it's so heartbreaking with her son and his son and her son's like husband, or not husband, I'm sorry, wife or girlfriend, whatever she is. Because there's some reports that he married her, some reports that was like a fake marriage. I don't know. But looking at those two people, like they're just like drugged out of their minds. Like he's just like he can't even form sentences. He's like, "Yeah, mom. Yeah, yeah." Like it's like hard to watch. And that must be so heartbreaking for her. She's like, like I feel like I'm losing my son to something. If I could just, get a hold of him, get him back. Like that has to be so hard, like heartbreaking. So like I kudos to Mary for sharing her child and her and what he's going through, and subsequently we know that he ends up in rehab, like for sharing that, because maybe that could help other people who are going through it, get the help that they need, because drug addiction is nothing to play with. It can happen to anybody. Anybody could get addicted after one hit, after one drink, after one whatever the case may be. It's really nothing to play with, and it does not discriminate. Now, why I think Mary is being so open and honest about it, I think probably because the church is closed. I think her and Robert Sr. are probably living separate lives the way they always have. But Mary looks healthier than she's looked before. If you watch her in Pat and other seasons, she's like gaunt and like very thin, and her face this season is just a lot fuller. She seems a lot more youthful, just a lot healthier. So whatever's going on in her life, she looks healthier. But then I also think she needs that Bravo check now, without the church and different lawsuits, and allegedly her house might be in foreclosure. I'm not 100% sure. These are just like allegations, rumors out there, Google this stuff. So I do think one part of it is financial, because she knows she needs to keep that snowflake, to keep that money coming in. And the other aspect of it is I think she's just in a different place in her life, where she's probably a little bit healthier for whatever reason. And so she's able to share more without being as mean and as cutting as she used to be. I still think she's mean in the confessionals, in talking to people on the after show. I think Mary's hella mean, but I do think she's less harsh this season. I think we're going to see more of her and her son's journey, but regardless of that, I hope her son gets the help he needs. I hope he's healthy. I hope he's able to kick the habit, because looking at those kids, it was like, what is going on? And just thankful, I never tried anything like that, because you never know. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see more of Mary and her sons and his addictions and how that plays out. So kudos to her for sharing that because that's a big thing to share. Her and Angie's friendship is interesting. One thing that I'm curious to see is what's the and put it in the chat box if you know. What's the root cause of Mary and Meredith's falling out? Because Mary and Meredith used to be really close. They used to be like, they used to be the Angie and the Mary of the situation. I'm guessing, and I could be wrong about this. If you guys know, put it in the chat. I'm guessing it is something to do with the fact that Angie and Mary are now so close, and Angie and Meredith are always beefing, that Mary is just going to take Angie's side. And so she's just going to find fault with Meredith because she's writing for her friend Angie. That's what I think is going to happen. Because I can't really figure out another reason why Mary and Meredith would have a falling out. So we'll see. Okay, what else, you guys? Okay, let's talk a little bit more about Bronwyn. I would hate to be in a marriage where I felt like my husband was my drill sergeant and not my husband. He had zero respect for her. And it also seems a little bit like maybe the reason why her daughter Gwen isn't close to the father's side of the family is because her husband Todd doesn't want her to be, because it seems like he's almost like I'm her father now. I pay for everything. They're awful people. She's not going to see them. End of discussion. Because Lisa's like, no, like they want to know Gwen. They're open to reconciling. They're open to knowing their granddaughter, and he's just shutting it down. And it also seemed like Bronwyn was open to it as well, like for maybe not with her, but like for the betterment of her daughter. But to me, Todd seems a person who's like, I'm paying for it, so what I say goes. He seems very egotistical, very, very controlling, and it didn't seem like it was up to Gwen or up to Bronwyn. If Gwen met her grandparents, it seemed like it was up to Todd. So I tend to believe what Lisa is saying, that no, the grandparents want to meet Gwen. They want to be in her life. They want to reconcile, but it's the other side not allowing it. And another reason why I think that is because why is Bronwyn carrying a photo of her ex in her phone or on her person? I don't carry photos of my ex, and I get that they have a child together, but like her daughter's like what, almost like 18, 19. That's 18, 19 years ago. And unfortunately, he passed away. Maybe that's why she's carrying the photo, because he did pass. I don't know. It just seems like, I don't know. I feel like Bronwyn is still in love with her daughter's husband. Or I'm sorry, her daughter's father. It seems like Bronwyn is still in love with her daughter's father. I know that they broke up. He, at the time, did not want to be in the child's life. I know he passed away, but you can still be in love with someone who's passed away. You can still be in love with someone who things didn't work out. I think she's still in love with him, and I think that's why she has the photo, and I think that's why a big reason why it's so hard for her. I don't think she's in love with Todd. I think Todd was someone who could take care of her and could take care of her daughter. And I think he's probably more of like a father figure. Not that she doesn't have a father. I don't know what her background is, but I think she was looking for someone to take care of her and her daughter, and that's what she found in Todd. But I don't get a love dynamic between the two of them, and if Todd is saying no, she can't see them and putting the foot down, to me it seems like perhaps throughout the years the reason why Gwen hasn't connected with her grandparents isn't because of the grandparents, it's because of Todd. Also, unless you are super cold-hearted and evil, I think the grandparents when, the son and Bronwyn came and they were, super young, they're in college and they got pregnant and they're Mormons and all that stuff. In the moment, they probably did react very poorly and didn't do right by Bronwyn and, all of that. But after their son passed away, I would think any normal person would be like, okay, like, I don't care about any of all that. My son is dead and gone. I want to have the closest thing to him, which would be his child. So, like, even if the parents reacted very poorly in the moment, with, you need to go away and give the child away and blah, 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 because of religion and all of that stuff. Even in that moment, in that situation, if they were horrible and they did not respond in the right way, I think once their son died, they would probably have that yearning of, okay, I want his child in my life. I want the last living thing that's like my child. Like, okay, like I want that in my life. I couldn't imagine grandparents whose child has passed wanting nothing to do with their deceased child's child. Do you know what I mean? So, I don't know. Barbara says she had the picture from his obituary. Maybe she wanted it for her daughter. But, like, why would she have it on her? Like, that's my point, because it's like Lisa and Bronwyn were in the airport waiting to fly back from wherever they were, and that's when everything went down. If they were at her house and she was like, "Oh, let me go grab it," or something, fine. But why was she carrying the picture on her? Like, that to me is what was weird, because it's like you're carrying the picture of him, because they didn't say she looked it up or anything like that. She's like, "Oh, let me show you a picture of him." Did she Google it? That's the thing, you know what I mean? So we won't know what the deal is. We won't really know. And I think that, I don't know, for me, obviously, like, I don't have children, but if I was a Bronwyn, I would let it be, especially now that her daughter is older. I would let my daughter decide. It wouldn't be my decision, and it sure as hell would not be my husband's decision if my child, who is not his, has a relationship with her paternal side. I would let Gwen decide. Gwen, do you want a relationship with your grandparents? Are you in a place to meet them and talk to them and make things right? You know? Why would she let Todd decide Gwen's fate when it comes to connecting with her own family? So, who knows what's going on with that? I don't know. He just seemed really crazy, super protective, weird, 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 weird. Who else is there? Oh, this is what I also wanted to say about Whitney. Whitney, girl, you are so hell-bent on trying to make Lisa Barlow look bad. You actually ended up making your husband look even worse. She had the audacity to say that Lisa, and I quote, incited my husband to hit. To hit? Who said that Justin was going to hit Lisa? And I don't care who you are, how does a woman incite him to hit by just standing there being like, "Oh, your wife is lying. How do you deal with your wife being lying?" If you incite someone to hit, you would have to, like, hit them first. She's acting like Lisa went up and, like, mollywopped her husband and incited him to hit her back. No. Whitney, just missed me with all that. You're just a hot, hot mess. I can't. Whitney is weird. To me, Bronwyn is insufferable. I'm just tired of all her stuff. Um, we talked about Angie and her husband and all of that. Oh, I love how Lisa played in Whitney's face when she was talking to Bronwyn. And she was like, "Yeah, Bronwyn, well, Heather was talking about her feelings. and she was talking about how she was feeling. And it's really hard to talk about somebody else's feelings. But if somebody lies on me, and then Whitney was like, I never lied on you, I was like, yes, gather all her edges, because that was the same thing Whitney was saying. Oh, I'm talking about my feelings, Lisa. You can't tell me that my feelings aren't true. And that's why Lisa was like, well, we deal with facts and not feelings. Like, I thought that was good. It was a good play in her face. Okay. I think that was it. I think that was all of the tea and all the thoughts I had on the ladies. Overall, I do think that this is a good season. I'm enjoying it. I'm like watching the women. I like watching them evolve. Do I buy all of the storylines? No. Am I a fan of all of the women? No, but that's also okay. I think it's entertaining. I'm enjoying it. Let me know if you guys are enjoying it. I also think that the second half of the season, I think it's going to be hot and it's going to really pop off. I think once we find out that Whitney reached out to Monica, I'm pretty sure it's probably to get information on Meredith, to get information on Lisa Barlow. I think all of that is going to pop all the way off. As we saw, the fourth wall is broken. Producers have to step in. I want to know why. I want to know what was said, what went down, why did it go so left. Also, I want to know why Bronwyn is cracking so much. Like, she's like, let's talk about what I've really gone through with Todd. Like, I want to know. I personally think Bronwyn is insufferable and she's a wackadoodle, but like, I'm invested in knowing, what the hell did Todd do to you, girl? Like, what are you going through? Like, give us the real tea. So then I can really like you and I can root for you and I can be more invested in you as a person, because when you're acting like a caricature and you're playing dress up in costumes and you're all over the place and you have this weird theater voice, like, okay, guys, let's go to Palm Springs. Like, I can't connect with you when you're playing a part. I cannot connect with you when you're playing a persona or a caricature. But if you put all that to the side and you show up and you're like, hey, this is me, this is what I'm going through, this is what's up, that is what I can connect to and that is what I can root for, Even though I don't like Angie like that, at least Angie is who she is. Even though I find it boring and weird, Angie is still more of like who she is, whereas I don't think we've really seen the real Bronwyn. Like, I don't think we've seen who Bronwyn really is, and hopefully we'll see more of that in the second half of the season. But I'm enjoying this season. I think it's good. I like the dynamics. I like that the husbands are involved and they're being vocal. I also think the guys are weirded out by Todd and by Shawn or Shane, whatever the hell his name is. I don't know why I'm blanking on Angie. I don't think the guys rock with Angie's husband, and I don't think the guys rock with Todd. I think Justin, Seth, and John, I think that's like the core three. And then sure, they'll be cool with like the other husbands, but like I think those are like the core three, if you know what I mean. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of where I land. I like that. I like Meredith this season too. I like that she's sticking with Lisa and is really having her back and isn't taking the bait. I think that's a big reason why Whitney is so pissed at Meredith, because Meredith isn't taking the bait and she's not turning on Lisa. What else is going on with the girls? Mealy wasn't there. Brittany wasn't there. I missed Heather. I'm ready for Heather to come back and do what she needs to do. Who are you guys? Whose side are you on? Heather or Bronwyn's? Put it in the chat. Whose side are you on? Meredith or Angie's? Put it in the chat. Whose side are you on? Lisa or Whitney? Put it in the chat. So with that, you guys, as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And yeah, I'm going to drop the link in case anybody wants to come up and chat with me. And then in the meantime, I will take your candy cane questions and comments. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Hey, Barba. She's, yeah, I've been waiting for this. Hi, Candy. Hey, sweetheart. Hey, Tay Tay says, what's up, Candy? Hello, love. What is up? Barbara says, here we go. Yes. Lauren says, hi. Hi, sweetheart. Hey, Chocolate Chunks. How are you? Says, hey, Candy. Hey, Candy Canes. Hey, everybody. Tay Tay says, not Shane. LL. You guys, this whole live, I've been saying Shane, Shawn, Shawn, Shane. I don't know what is going on. Seth, and I still don't know if it's Shane or Shawn. It must be Shawn. And then Shane is Emily's husband from the OZ. It's been a long day. Hey, Miss T, what's up, sweetheart? Thanks for being my mod and holding me down. Chocolate Chunk says Angie's husband's name is Shawn. Yes. Okay, Shawn. Yes. Thank you, Chocolate Chunk. Barbara says, and let's not forget, she can't even afford to have somebody clean up her dog poop. Thank you. That's what I'm saying. That's why I was like, listen, there is something up with Bronwyn and Todd and all of this money. Number one, they talk about money too much. Every episode, every other scene, they're talking about how much money they have, the Black Amex, what they're doing, what they're buying, this, that, and the third. It's like, if you have had all this money all this time, why are you still talking about it in a way as if you're still trying to prove something? You know, don't act rich. Don't tell me you're rich. Just be rich. You know what I mean? Just be wealthy. Just be it. Again, something seems weird with this whole like 4 million. Like if it was like a four, I would have believed it if it was a $400,000 necklace. But to say that he bought her a $4 million necklace, don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. You did not buy this woman a $4 million necklace for your anniversary when you cannot afford to have staff pick up your dog poop, or you cannot afford an interior designer to furnish your home. Get out of here. Knock it off. I also don't believe relationships when like one person is always traveling. I don't know. It's hard. Hey, Chocolate Chunks says the necklace was gaudy, but I'd have chosen it too, especially with my marriage looking like it's on the rocks. No, don't get me wrong. If someone was like, Candy, I want to give you a $4 million necklace, yeah, I'm taking it. 1000%, I'm taking it. I just don't think, I think it was a loner. Like, I wonder, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And if they did buy a $4 million necklace, I want to know what their net worth is. Because you could be very, very wealthy, multi-millionaire, but $4 million on a one piece of jewelry. Misty says Kennedy doesn't see it for Bronwyn. I don't. She's so weird to me. Like, she's just an odd duck, and she's just very, very weird to me. Like, she's very chatty, but like acts like she's like a feminist, but then she talks about how much money her husband, like, she's just all over the place. I also don't like the way she treated Lisa when she came in, and then she keeps acting like Lisa is the bad guy. Like, oh, Lisa, you don't have my back when it comes to Heather. Like, I'm your friend, and why are you just, say I'm not two-faced? Well, you are two-faced. Because literally, when Whitney and Lisa were beefing, Bronwyn called Lisa and was like, hey, listen, I'm having this trip to Palm Springs. Whitney and Justin are coming. Are you and John going to be okay? So basically, you chose Whitney and Justin over Lisa and John when you're expecting all of this blind loyalty from Lisa, but you're choosing her nemesis over her, who you just met, who you're just getting to know, but you expect Lisa to choose you over Heather, who is an OG on the show? In the situation where you actually are two-faced, you talk like Whitney, you talked about Whitney like a dog to Heather and Lisa, but then you were all up Whitney's butt. So Heather was right to be like, you're two-faced and you're scary, Tay says, at Miss T, neither do I. I love it. 1 second, you guys. Sorry about that. I had to cough. Chocolate Chunks says John Barlow is the only real man there. I agree. Miss T's laughing at Tay Tay. Hey, Sandra says 100, 100, 100. Miss T says husband is very grumpy. Yeah. Todd, to me, he's mean, dismissive, not nice. and there's no warmth in their relationship. Do you know what I mean? Like there's no flirtation, there's no softness. It's just very transactional, very weird. And it's like if you didn't want women to fight, if you didn't want any drama, then like why did you agree to be on a show? Like you do know what you signed up for. Like you do know this is the Real Housewives. Like what did you think that you were doing with this? Chocolate Chunk says on the after show, Bronwyn said she wishes Todd would defend her like John does with Lisa. Exactly. I think that Bronwyn, one second. Sorry, give me a little tickle my throat. I think that Bronwyn is so jealous of Lisa. Like, I do think she wishes she had like a younger husband, a hotter husband. All of that. She wishes she has someone who would like defend her and be by her side and actually like love her. Tay said Todd's like the Grinch. Barbara says they don't look happy together at all. Nope. Hey, Johnny says Bronwyn is starting to crack on her first season. I feel bad for her. She seems like a lonely person. I agree 1,000% with that. I do think Bronwyn's very lonely and she is cracking. I think that if she would have stuck with Lisa instead of turning on her and going with Whitney, I think she would have had a much better season. Because I don't understand the Bronwyn stands out there. Like, I don't get it. Barbara says, I don't like Heather. I can't help it. That's okay. That's okay. That's right, you guys. We can agree to disagree all day long. Chocolate Chunk says, when Todd put the necklace on Bronwyn, he said, it's beautiful, not you look beautiful. And he wouldn't even give her a hug or a kiss. Oh, that is sad. And that's such a good point. That's such a good point. Yeah, Todd looks at her with like disdain. He kind of looks at her like, I bought you, therefore I can like treat you however I want. So who knows? Misty says, it was a couples trip, so I'm okay with just couples. Johnny says, I don't trust Heather nor Whitney. Lisa needs to keep her eye on her. So true. And don't forget, Dana Wilkie basically hinted to the fact that it was Heather the one who actually brought her the information about Whitney Alibaba jewelry allegations, that it was Heather who actually planted that seed with her and sent her the screenshots and the information. I had said before, I kind of got, I don't want to believe it. Like, I don't want to believe that Heather would do this, but a part of me was kind of like, is Heather and Whitney, did they come together and do the whole Lisa Alibaba stuff for like storyline and for cover? Like, I don't want it to be true, but something isn't right. Tay says, Seth. Yes, Seth. Hey, Johnny says, Whitney has started with Lisa on every season she has been on. So true. The only time Lisa and Whitney were friends, I think it was season 3 or 4, but it was only because Whitney and Heather had a big falling out and Whitney wanted to be friends with Lisa. And I think Lisa was on the outs with Meredith. So she needed an ally. But then after all that like washed out, came out on the wash, and they got back together, they broke up again. Chocolate Chunk says, Whitney is such a liar. And now that I know she knowingly lying at Angie's party, it makes me sick to watch her scenes. I agree 100%. Like, she literally, and if you watch the after show, Meredith talks about this, about people who like sit down and like scheme and scam and like connive and lie to like contrive different storylines and to go after people. That to me is like evil. Like, if you sit down and you're like, how can I lie on this person? How can I make up a storyline? How can I take somebody down? How can I ruin somebody's reputation? And you know that you're lying. And also, Whitney, that's why Whitney seems so confident in this episode when she's talking to Justin. She's like, oh, I trust my source. I trust my source more than I trust Lisa. Talking about Adam from Up and Adam. And then it turns out that Up and Adam is like, no, I never said that. I told you it wasn't Lisa. You knew it wasn't Lisa. And that's why, and Watch Happens Live, she goes, oh, I trusted the wrong person. Not like, oh, he lied to me, but I trusted the wrong person. That means you were in cahoots. You trusted him that he was going to lie for you. Girl, bye. Barbara says, Dana let us know Heather was involved with that. Yes, she did, 100%. She goes, it makes me feel like Heather and Whitney are up to something. Exactly. Hey, Johnny says, calling Seth Shawn and Shawn Shane is nasty. I know. I had such a long day. So like this, the Seth and the Shawn and the Shane of it all was all scrambled in my head. I'm sorry, you guys. Chocolate Chunk says, Shawn told him himself at the table 100%. And the thing is, I don't think anybody really wanted to press him that hard because of the sensitivity around the topic, gay rumors. Even though I think that there's nothing wrong with being gay and like I accept everyone, I do understand that for certain communities, for certain people, whatever the case may be, families or culture, it could even be dangerous to be honest about your sexuality, so I do understand that it's such a sensitive topic, it's such a personal topic, and nobody should share unless they're ready to share. So I think that's kind of why people tiptoed around it around the table. But I agree that Shawn definitely told on himself at the table. And Chocolate says everyone knew Shawn was lying and no one stood up for Meredith. Right, because I think it was because it was about his sexuality. I think everybody kind of felt like embarrassed and kind of awkward and probably didn't want to say anything because it was about his sexuality. You know what I mean? Does it make it right? I don't think so, but it's a sensitive topic. Thank you, Ms. T. Hey, Johnny says, honestly, I'm ready for this Mary and Meredith feud because it seems to come out of nowhere. Yeah, I think the Mary Meredith thing is just Mary writing hard for Angie. And she's going to make up an excuse for why she's mad at Meredith, but it's really just to prove her alliance to Angie. Miss T says 100. Johnny says, I like Angie. I don't really care for her husband. Angie tries too hard. I agree. Oh, wait. Hey, Eveline says, hiya, Candy and the Canes. Hey, sweetheart. Chocolate Chunk says, Angie is going to regret siding with Whitney over Lisa 1,000%. Because Whitney doesn't like anybody. Whitney doesn't really have any friends. She's just weird and evil and nasty. And she uses people to take down whoever her target is. And then when she's done using you, she'll just discard you. Hey, Chocolate Chunks, that scene with Mary's son is so sad. They can't even speak. They look brain dead. I know. I don't know the exact drugs or whatever her son is on or using. Hopefully was using. I want to speak health into him. I want to speak rehabilitation into him. So let's hope it's past tense. I hope it doesn't have any like long-term effects because they both just look like zombies. And when you do certain types of drugs, that can mess you up. So it's heartbreaking. Yeah, Mary's scene was super heartbreaking. Yep. Tay Mary's son is so sad. Miss T, love Mary this season. I do too. I still think she's mean. But I do think that she's being so much more honest. She's nicer, softer, still mean, but softer and nicer in a way where I can receive her shade in a fun way rather than her shade in a mean way. But I agree. I do like Mary way more this season than I liked her in the past. I agree. And I do think we're having a good season. I do. Barbara says, I think it has to do with Angie. Also, Mary really cares about Angie. I agree. Tay says, love seeing Lisa and Meredith back together. Me too. I think Lisa and Meredith are such a fun duo. And it's refreshing when the women don't take the bait of the other girls, like trying to separate them and come between them. Like it's very refreshing seeing them not take the bait. and holding people to task and all of that. So I agree. And I think they're really fun together. And also, I just love it when two women are friends and when they're not in each other's presence, they still have their back. Like they're not two-faced. They don't flip-flop. They don't sit there quietly, but they actively defend each other. So I love that. I love that. Barbara said that marriage is so sad. Barbara says, yes, Candy, I was thinking the same thing. I think the husband does want Bronwyn's daughter to see her family. Exactly. Yep. He's very grouchy looking too. Sorry, I get the coughs, you guys. I popped in a cough drop, so sorry if you hear me sucking at it. Okay. Johnny said, Todd is saying that his stepdaughter can't see her biological grandparents. Told me everything. Exactly. No matter how horrible they are, it's not his place. I agree. Barbara says she has the picture from his obituary. Maybe she wanted it for her daughter. Yeah, but I'm saying, like, wouldn't she have it, like, the paper obituary, like, in her house somewhere and, like, an album or something? I was thinking, but, like, is she carrying it around with her? Like, that to me was, like, the sketchy part. Did she Google the obituary picture? Is she carrying it with her? Like, I don't know. There's just something off about that. Dwani says, I also think Heather and Bronwyn is more alike than they think. I think Bronwyn is living the life Heather used to have as a Mormon. Ooh, good point. Classy Lay says, unfortunately, I believe it. Johnny says, maybe Todd don't want it in the house. Oop. Classy Lay says, the grandparents were never nice to Bronwyn. That's the thing, though. That's the thing. Do you stop your child from having a relationship with their grandparents because you and their grandparents don't get along? I think it depends, like, are you hurting your child to spite the grandparents? Because I do think that in some cases, depending on the situation, okay, you shouldn't let your child see the grandparents if the grandparents are, like, abusive or unhealthy or something like that. But this situation doesn't seem like that. It seems more like they were super disappointed that they got pregnant young out of wedlock and they did not handle the situation correctly. But I don't know. Like, do you punish your child because you don't like their grandparents? That's the big question. And it also seemed like Bronwyn was open to Gwen having a relationship with them because she even said, I don't want Gwen to be angry because I'm angry. And I think that's really big. You do have to sometimes put your own feelings aside and act in your child's best interest. So I don't know. Chasing Charlton says Whitney gets so triggered and I love it. Ah, me too. Barbara says, I'm enjoying this season. It's one of my favorites. Me too. I am definitely enjoying this season. I think it's a fun season. I think it's a juicy season. And I think it's only going to get better. I cannot wait for the Monica bombshell to drop, But my thing is, it seems like Heather and Whitney are good now. So I want to see what that fallout looks like, everything that happens. I want to know who put the recording device in Meredith's room because she's at the table and she's like, "Did you put a recording device in my room?" It probably was Angie. Do we think Whitney would do it? It was either Angie or Whitney. That's some dirty stuff. If somebody put a recording device in my room, that would be dirt. Hey. Johnny says they were supposed to bring Monica to the finale, allegedly. They were going to bring Monica? That's crazy. If they were going to bring her, that is beyond, because that's like a setup. That's like a Potomac situation, right? When Ashley brought Cookie Monster and Cookie Monster tried to jump Candace and ended up knocking KK in her forehead. No, I wouldn't be. No, Bravo needs to ban any of those bring along situations. Classy Lace says Mary's story is the most real and heart wrenching. I know. Watching it and like, kudos to Mary for sharing that, that's a lot, and it could save lives because you never know who's watching. You never know if a child is watching, an adult or a parent, and they see something where they're like, you know what, maybe I should get help, or maybe I should get my child help, or maybe I should get somebody help. So it could save lives. Chocolate Chunk says, I wonder if Bronwyn went on the show to get divorced. No furniture, no prenup. Not no furniture, no prenup. She might. She could have, we do know those people who go on the shows to get divorced. She definitely could have. I mean, no prenup, girl. Maybe it's time to bounce. Her daughter is older, going to college. Might as well. Chocolate Chunk says, and gathering as many diamonds as possible. Chasing Challenge says, period. For real. No, don't get me wrong. I am not being a hater. If anybody wants to buy me a $4 million diamond necklace, I will accept it happily and heartily with open arms, Definitely. Chasing Charlton says, Lisa and Meredith aligning again is everything. I agree. It is such a vibe. I love them being friends. It's a lot of fun. I love seeing them. I actually really loved the spa day that Lisa, Heather, and Meredith had together, and they were getting together and they were talking about the girls. Like, those scenes I love, where it's just like the girls are together and they're like gossiping and like shit talking and like having fun and like catching up and be like, oh my God, this happened and da 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 da. I love those scenes. Those scenes are so fun because that reminds me of like me and like my friends, like, hey girl, like, did you hear what happened? Blah, 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 blah. Like, I love those scenes. To me, those scenes are more entertaining than like the I want to expose you and break you and tear you down. Like, that's too much. Like, I think it's good that they're starting to, at least, I think once everything blows up, moving away from everything has to be, let's expose people and tear people down. Like, that's a little much. Chocolate Chunk says, Todd isn't the big man he portrays. What happened to if Lisa doesn't stop, she has to leave? Did production talk to him? Exactly. And honestly, the only reason why I think Todd was beefing with Lisa is because Lisa is a part of the whole storyline about Gwen seeing her grandparents, right? He was like, it wasn't Lisa's place to bring it up and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, Todd, you were just on one for no reason. Like, you're mad at Lisa. Lisa didn't do anything. She literally was just like, oh, Gwen looks just like you. And Bronwyn was the one and Bronwyn said this to her credit. She was honest and she was like, no, like, this was all like good natured. Like, Lisa didn't mean anything. I was the one who said it. Like, it just happens to be friends with them. Like, this isn't on her. But yet he's still mad and harping at Lisa. He's projecting his own stuff about Bronwyn and Gwen and the grandparents onto Lisa. And that's really weird and bizarre. Chasing Chance's girl who is Mealy. She's so tiny in the corner, but she's like a friend of or something. I don't know why she even got her own photo. I don't even know why she got her own photo. Who knows? Chasing John says, I don't like Bronwyn, but I'm on her side. Hey, Johnny says, I'm on Bronwyn's side. I flip-flop between Angie and Meredith, and I'm on Lisa's side with Whitney. Orange Blossom says, I'm on Heather's side. Bronwyn thinks she can razzle-dazzle her way into the group and buy friendships, but Bronwyn ends up coming across as tacky and inauthentic. Orange, I agree 1,000%. 1,000%. Hey, Sierra Content. Shawn is very much fine AF and hot and a little sassy. I love it. A little sassy. Hey, Johnny says, I just don't trust Heather. I don't see much of a change in her from season 1. Blindly defending the queen bee and breaking up friendships been her thing. Oop. Jason Charlton says, I don't buy that. It's $4 million either, right? Like $4 million? You could buy multiple homes and you're telling me you bought one. Like, I don't buy it. Chocolate Chunk says, that necklace was wearing Bronwyn. What a shame. Oop. Chasing Challen says, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with Bronwyn next season, since seeing that Todd would never come back. Sierra Content says their net worth got to be 500 mils. I Googled it and it said it was only 24 million. So that's why I'm saying, like, would you spend 4 million on one necklace when your entire net worth is 24 million? You know? Chasing Charleston says there's zero chemistry, and you're right. She's just there for the black Amex, and I'm not sure what she's there for, but maybe we'll find out. Chasing Charleston's major jelly vibes. Todd looks like he hates Bronwyn, to be honest. It seems like he likes Gwen more than Bronwyn. I know. And that's icky, right? Isn't it icky when, like, the old stepfather seems to be more invested in the daughter than the mother? I'm not even going to go there. Icky, icky, icky. Chocolate Chunk says, why do they fly them on a private jet and then send them back on home commercial and coach? Again, their money looks questionable. I agree. Mary said this on the after show, and I agree. She goes, if I fly there private, I need to fly home private. And I was like, 100. Sierra Content says, Heather's really mad she couldn't make Bronwyn and Whitney fight when she dropped the T. Ever since then, she's had a hard on for Braun. Like, let it go. Heather, play herself out of being on the trip. Oop. I don't think Heather would do that. I don't know why. I just feel like it's Monica. I agree. I think Monica is just awful, 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 awful. Lori says, did you hear Todd correct Scott when Scott said that the men did well because of their wives? Todd said, no, they did well. Ew. Todd is horrible. Todd is horrible, and he hates his wife. Chasing says, yes, that's very telling. Why? Wow. Barbara says he was into heavy drugs. Yeah, Mary's son. Hey, Holly says, Candy, how are you? I'm good. How are you, sweetheart? What is up? Hey, Johnny says, Brittany did it. Brittany said she has to come clean, and Meredith was yelling at her in the van for recording. Brittany? Wow. Wow, Brit. That's all I got to say. That's bad. Brittany needs to go. She wasn't even in the last 2 episodes. And what does she have to gain by recording people? Brittany, you're cuckoo. You're cuckoo, but it will all come out. It will all come out. Oof. All right, you guys. This is Brittany did what? So Johnny is saying that Brittany was the one who put the recording device in Meredith's room. Because you know how it's like she's like teasing it, and it's like, and she's like, did you put a recording device in my room? But you kind of like can't tell who she's talking to. But Johnny said that it was Brittany who did it. And I'm like, does Brittany beef with Meredith? Like, what? Like, I can't wait for the second half of the season. Because that's crazy. Secretly record Meredith. Sierra said, Brittany is so lonely, but it's very funny. Brittany is lonely. Brittany is very lonely and weird. But for me, I'm like, Brittany, you need to maybe be alone and focus on getting your kids back. Because a very dangerous narrative that Brittany is trying to put out there is like, oh, like, I want to live my life. I want to find my happiness too. And I want to date, you know. And you can, but don't do it at the detriment of your children. Like, if your children are just like, I don't want you to date anybody, that's one thing. But if your children's like, I don't want you to date someone who is abusive, that's another. You can date and be happy and do all of that as your own person, as your own woman. But if your children don't want to talk to you and don't want to be around you, 99 times out of 100, it's because the person you're with is abusive, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, financially. And that's why your children don't want you with them. It's very rare for a child not to want their parents to be with someone just because. You know, usually it's something. Maybe if it's like freshly divorced, they want their parents back together. You know, like normal stuff like that, sure. But complete alienation, like Tamara Judge in the OC, complete alienation when a child completely wants to be alienated from their parent, particularly a mother, usually it's because they're into very toxic men. And she said it herself. She chose Jared over her own children. And he treats her like dog crap. So we know what the deal is there. Johnny says she probably thought Jared was in the room. Oop. Tammy says, what motivation would Britt have to do that? That's what I'm saying. Like, I want to figure out what happened between Brittany and Meredith, where Brittany would want to tape Meredith. Like, I didn't even know Brittany knew Meredith or Meredith knew Brittany like that. So we'll see. But I think she should be fired if it's true, because recording somebody, ultimate betrayal. Chocolate Chunk says, it's weird what that Brittany would record Meredith and then they would put Lisa and Meredith BFF with Brittany on the after show. True. So we'll see how that shakes out. Maybe nobody else would film with Brittany during the after show. Because Heather, you know what? Why didn't they put Meredith and Lisa together during the after show and Heather and Brittany together for the after show? Because Heather is the one who brought Brittany on the show, unless Heather and Meredith or Heather and Brittany have a falling out. Because why wouldn't Heather and Brittany do the after show together? Maybe Lisa took an L for everybody. Sierra says, absolutely, the kids have to come first. Tammy said, I'm hoping the edit made it look like Meredith was talking to Britt, but it was actually somebody else. Yeah, time will tell. But like I said, I am really enjoying this season. I think it's a really good season. It's not too dark either. Like, sure, they're getting into some territory like Alibaba jewelry and blah, 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 blah. But it's not a super dark season. We'll see if that stays the same with the whole Monica stuff, the whole takedown stuff, the whole recording stuff, the whole breaking the fourth wall and the producer stepping in. We'll see if that stays the same and how all of that goes. But I'm really enjoying this season and I'm looking forward to the second half. So with that, you guys, I'm going to go. I'm going to rest my voice. I'm going to get some tea. And I love you guys. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. It's a free and easy way to support the show, and I would really appreciate it. And shout out to everybody in the chat box. Hey, Tammy. Hey, Sierra. Hey, Chocolate Chunks. Hey, Johnny. Hey, Tay. Hey, Holly. Hey, Chasing Charlatans. Hey, Brabra. Hey, Lori. Who else was up in here? If I missed you, I apologize. Hey, Classy Lady. How are you? Hey, Tay. Hey, Miss T. Hey, Evelyn. All right, I think I got everybody. If I missed you, I am sorry. Hey, Lauren, what's up? All right, you guys, I think I got everybody. So we love you too. Thank you, Chocolate Chunks. We love you. Mwah, I love you too. And tomorrow we will be right back here for the Real Housewives of OC reunion part 2. And also Real Housewives of Beverly Hills next week premieres. I am so here for it. So with that, you guys, I love you so much. Mwah, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.